While the Grayscales have been tearing it up in front of their home crowd, we pivot to the second event of the B-League here in Tour de Endurance in Season 5. The Sweet and Sours, a shock gold medal to start things off in the obstacle race ahead of the Quantum Tunnels and the Steel Force, but this, a team effort in the block bumping. We saw this not too long ago in the A-League as well, won by Team Mayhem in the opening event. And there you can see the past results. This event in both of the B-Leagues in Season 3 and Season 4, won by the Onion Union in Season 3, Quantum Tunnels in Season 4 here in the B-League. Record-breaking run set by Team Mayhem. We'll see if any of these lower division teams manage to even come close to that. It's going to take a monumental effort, but the Autumn Leaves will show us how it's done here in the Expedition pre-show.
Monumental effort is correct. The conditions, in fact, are not quite as good as they were for the opening event of the A-League, so getting up towards even that 100 mark could be a task today. But the Autumn Leaves have done very well in the opening round here, all the way up past 80 with a wonderful anchor push. We noticed it in the A-League event. The anchor is what really decided it. It's really tough to do properly, but if you can do it properly, it saves your run. And there you see, look how good that was by the Autumn Leaves, bunching together, traveling the momentum between each other and into the block rather than getting in each other's way and slowing each other down. There you see the run order. It's backwards from the first event. So Condiment Kings, who finished with the Goose Egg, will go first, and the Sweet and Sours, again our shock gold medalists, will go last, lining up first to the Condiment Kings. Statistically, a fairly strong team, so you expect a good performance here as the standard lineup lines up and off they go.
The first marble gets a decent impact in there, but it's all about the second, third, and fourth ones typically. The second one will push their teammate off, and they can't get much into the block. Neither can the anchor, though. And it's going to be low 80s. The conditions, we'll see how this is compared to the other teams in today's event. But 82.75, especially compared to the A-League, far cry from the best runs back then. It was not very clean by the eye test either. You can see turning the block with their third marble as well, and none of these second, third, or fourth marbles could really get much distance into the block. So the Condiment Kings, after a goose egg in the first event, perhaps a bit worried here as we move to the second one in the Flash Fires.
Flash Fires with a bronze medal in this event back in Season 4's B-League. It was their first event ever in a professional tournament, and the first two pushes run great. They move aside for the third one fantastically, but leave way too much, leave zero room for the anchor, who makes contact with marbles all the way far away from the block, and that just does not leave any hope for the Flash Fires. It leaves 74.65, well below the Condiment Kings and well below the mark of the A-League. This third push was particularly impressive, but look at them, it leaves those two all the way at the back, and the anchor just cannot avoid them. That really stifles what could have been a great run for the Flash Fires, and they'll wonder what could have been as we look to the Woodsman in run 3.
Yeah, the Flash Fires really demonstrated that you needed consistency. Their third run looked better than anything the Condiment Kings did, but the other marbles didn't leave much for them. The Woodsmen here also aren't leaving much here. Oh, they're going to get an invalid run. No, they will push it back in the block, but was that the right play? They seemed very messy in their first few runs, and that's going to be only 70.9. The Woodsmen, I think, would have been better off if they just went again and left that block out of the lane, but perhaps just wanting to get on the board, don't want to risk a disqualification. They will be in third out of 3 right now, and look at how paltry some of those pushes are, getting absolutely nothing into the block. The anchor does a decent job of getting it back in the block and getting it far, but that's still going to be dead last provisionally.
Onion Union, of course, gold medalist in Season 3. What can they do with some of the runs we've seen so far? Not quite living up to the A-League so far, perhaps due to the rougher conditions. The second push does look like flip the block a little bit. The third one is fantastic. Down comes the fourth, and due to the nature of their formation in front of the block, it can't get very far. But that third push properly defined this run, and it's good enough for second place. 76.35. Onion Union provisionally in the top half, but only out of 4 so far. So a spin for both the first two pushes isn't great. Then the third one comes down. That's great formation to keep themselves up against the block, and then the fourth one has to hit the one that's too far back, can't go around, and that leaves a not great finish, but still not a bad result to the eye despite some spinning in the blocks. Now Cosmonauts, they got silver in this event in Season 4's A-League. Several top runners in this event have already gone early so far. What can the Cosmonauts do here?
Marks set so far haven't been great. Oh, it's out of the block, and it's completely out of the track here. Cosmonauts will have to go again for our first invalid run of the day here, and we'll see if they can get closer to the Condiment Kings, who, while I thought didn't have the greatest of runs, they still sit in first place. Cosmonauts here on their second attempt. They've done great in this event before. They're going to try to recapture that magic here in block bumping. The first two are going to come out of the funnel very quickly together, and I thought they could have got more into that block. And in fact, it's only going to be not even close to 70. 68.05 for the Cosmonauts. Very paltry for them. It was a fairly clean run for the Cosmonauts, but didn't have the strength to do that. Second marble really could have used coming together as They really could have used that to get it way further than they did.
Yeah, not particularly clean. It was a pretty clean run in terms of formation and keeping it in strategy, but they just did not have the raw strength today. I don't know what went wrong there for the Cosmonauts. The Silly Slimes come down next. They watched their record of almost 5 years forward to Team Mayhem the other day, and they've made it out of the block. They do manage to push it back in. I think they were going for the spectacular and just launching it up towards 90 or 100, but they just couldn't quite get the angle right, and it's good enough for third place, 75-85 by the Silly Slimes. I thought that was a very clever run. Of the first two pushes were very strong. The second one especially was rather impressive. Then the third one sets up for the anchor. I liked what they were going for, but they just didn't quite hit it right, and it wasn't able to go flying as some of us were probably expecting, as what we saw in the A-League. As Neptune Nomads line up for run 7. The winners in the A-League last season for this event. Surely that previous gold medal can give us some boost here.
We'll have seen some past winners and podiumers in this event not live up to that, but the Neptune Nomads look to be doing well here. Solid impacts for all their marbles, and that will get past 90. The Neptune Nomads will take the lead. It is not 100, it is not close to the record, but for the conditions here today, that's a great run for the Neptune Nomads, showing why they are a past gold medalist in block bumping. Look at how consistent these marbles were, leaving space for each marble to give their own impact. One of the marbles leaving the track there, helping them clear the area for the last few marbles to get through. And that's a great run for the Neptune Nomads. Textbook good run here in block pumping. Serpent Speeders, another team that typically is in the A-League. We'll see if they can follow up that with a good run here.
Yeah, also typically pretty strong. Silver in Season 3, they push the block out of the lane, trying to set up for the back markers, and it doesn't quite work out. They'll have to go again. I think it's worth it to try that risky maneuver for at least the first push, but now you'd think they want to try and get a score on the board as to not get disqualified. Now, marbles jumping out of the lane is actually rather effective because it leaves the marbles running behind them with a whole lot more room to work with. So getting pushed out of the lane could work dividends, as we always thought that was not a great idea. The first push is very consistent. It's all about the anchor, and it does actually punch pretty far, but I didn't think that didn't look to go as far as I initially thought. The first pushes, that is, but it's an 80.60 for the Serpent Speeders, good enough for third place, and in these conditions, that might be a very good result for the Serpent Speeders. It's all we have to wait and find out. But those first two, pretty solid. Third one comes down, getting it up into the 60s, and then the anchor. It was pretty good all around, but just not as strong as some of, again, the runs we saw in the A-League.
Yeah, but many of these anchors, with so many marbles in the way, can't get much into the block. So Serpent Speeder is still par for the course for that anchor, and setting up well with the first few marbles means that they're going to be in third place right now. Solid for a team that's typically in the A-League. Now Navy Seals in the 9th run here, typically in the B-League for them. Mariana leading the team. And off they go here. First marble, turning the block, doing a 180 I think it did, but we'll see what the other marbles can do. Oh, they're not getting much into the block. Second and third can't do much, and the anchor will try to salvage something. It's not to be, though. 62.3, that is paltry for the Navy Seals. 9th out of 9 runs thus far.
The mistake was flipping the block. You see, there's no clear surface for the marbles to bump into. It's a bit of there's like a track there almost on the other side of the block. So flipping it 90 degrees is a proper punish. You don't want to do that. And that really tanked the Navy Seals run from start to finish after that. As the Green Peacocks, another team. We're seeing teams typically in the A-League and typically in the B-League pretty much back to front here as the Green Peacocks coming down with Pheasant subbed in for this event. And they immediately set the block up by lining it out of the lane. Will this work out? It did not work out at all. And they are knocked out the block in just 2 marbles that was. And they will have an invalid push. Again, worth it to go for the first one, but will they go for it again or attempt to just get a run on the board as they line up for the second run? Again, 3 tries as per usual.
Green Peacock subbing in Pheasant, the reserve here. They really tried to go for it in the first one. Second one, probably going to try to keep it safe though. Solid impact for the first two. For the first marble, second and third are going to come together, and it's a decent anchor here. It's going to be shy of 80. It's going to be mid-pack for the Green Peacocks, but that's good enough for 4th place actually, out of 10 runs. In the A-League, that would not have been that good here because of how good the conditions were in that event. But here in the B-League, this is just shy of the podium provisionally.
I do believe Neptune Nomads, with the talk about the conditions, I do believe their run in the A-League wouldn't have even been good enough for a top 5 finish. So it just goes to show that these conditions are truly tough so far. But we still have 6 runs to go. Maybe they'll put up some spectacular performances up toward the hundreds. The Moneymaker's coming down now. They do knock it out of the lane again, perhaps setting up for later on. And it hasn't worked out so far today, and it still doesn't work out here. I think they came down together. It could have worked out with the second marble, but the third one just gave it a bit too much power, knocked it out of the lane. Invalid pushes all around for the B-League competitors here, as Moneymakers line up for run 2, seeing if they can actually just get a score on the board here. It's a good first push. Second and third one now taking their time. They do come down together again. again, but the third one leaves some space, and that really was not too much power until the anchor. The anchor saves the run there, leaving plenty of space, did his teammates, but it's only good enough for 8th place in the low 70s. Moneymakers would have wished they could have done a bit better there, just in terms of raw strength.
Yep, the anchor saves them from last, but the first few marbles left much to be desired for the Moneymakers. Even in their first attempt, trying to go for it, many of these teams trying to go for the great maneuvers that we saw in the A-League, it's really not panning out though. Maybe due to the conditions, but maybe due to these teams just not being able to pull it off here. The Hellclowns will try to do so here, or perhaps try to do a clean run, but it's a great first push from their first marble. And the third one, oh, that's going to be an invalid run from their anchor, pushing it out of the lane just barely in their final attempt here, in their final marble. So they're going to have to go again. We typically see the block getting pushed out, perhaps intentionally for the earlier marbles, but not that much with the last marble. So the Hellclowns, that was definitely a mistake from their last marble. We'll have to see them try to recover it in their second run.
It's a great opening push as everyone's starting to come down together. They all come down one at a time to the Hellclowns, and they push it up well past 85. That is going to be, I believe, second place. Yes, second place for the Hellclowns with an 86-20. Perhaps the anchor wasn't a mistake, and they just realized we can do better than this, and they decided let's give it another try, knocking it out of the lane. And it worked out very well. They all came down pretty much in single file, and that left everyone close to the block. It kept momentum going, and it worked very well. A swarm attack seems to work very well. We don't see it very often because it's very hard to pull off, but Hellclowns, second place for now with 4 runs to go. It's going to be a confirmed good result, at least for them, as Jade Jockeys head into the final 4, and it's a good opening push. Second one comes down with a lot of speed, but can't quite meet the block very well. Third one knocks themselves out of the lane. The anchor is able to push it. Oh, I thought it was going to be invalid for a second there, but they do keep it in the lane for a 73, but only 9th out of 13. Maybe they almost wanted to make it invalid, but it is good enough only for 9th, and they did flip the block. That probably caused some issues as well, but Jade Jockeys will be hoping for a bit better, I think.
That final push, critical for getting it back in the lane there for the Jade Jockeys. And it's going to be a mid-70s run, not the best from the Jade Jockeys, but we'll see in the final 3 runs. It's getting closer and closer to a Neptune Nomads gold medal here in block bumping. The Steel Force, our bronze medalists from the first attempt, from the first event, will try to do them better here. Second and third are going to come quickly here, and the anchor is set up nicely with marbles out of the way.
Oh no!
And that's going to get past 80. Oh, but it's invalid. Just about that's invalid. Steel Force, I thought that was in the block. Oh, it was a trick of the eye there. But that is out of the track, and they will have to go again. Heartbreak for Steel Force.
And that was a very good push too. They're going to be kicking themselves after that. Can they repeat, or have they used all their strength in the first run? The fourth push didn't seem to go as far there. Third one coming down as the third marble, or doesn't. There's not much raw strength in this one at all for Steel Force. The anchor does save the run a little bit. It was a good finish, but they were just too far gone by that point. It's only good enough for 13th place. Out of 14 so far for Steel Force, 68 flat. They're going to be kicking themselves. Would have been up towards the top 5 had they just maintained their first run and kept it in the block. But it is not to be, and they're going to be in a real poor result after this event.
Yeah, if you notice the key differences between this run and their last, in the first run, their marbles were very much out of the way, and they had a clean push into the block to get it far. But for the second run, all in the way there, Steel Force going to get a very poor result in this event. Quantum Tunnels, winners in the B-League in this event last season. We'll see if they can replicate that here. Oh, it's not looking like it. Marbles in the way of each other, flying all over the place. Mid-60s for the Quantum Tunnels. That is second to last here, but a 63.1 really did not pan out for the Quantum Tunnels, defending winners in this event in the B-League. And yep, Quantum, where did this go wrong? You can see the second and third marbles really just getting all their energy into their teammates and not into the block. The anchor saves it a bit, but it was too far gone for that point. And this means the Neptune Nomads are guaranteed at least a silver here. But can the Sweet and Sours go back to back, led by Cookie here in the B-League?
What a story that would be for Sweet and Sour to go back-to-back in the first 2 events. They knock themselves out of the lane with the second push. Third one sets up for the anchor, but he hits into his teammate, and it does not hit with quite enough power. If he had teammate moved out of the way there, that could have been something special. But 71-55, is good enough for 10th place, and that confirms that Neptune Nomads will get their second gold running in a block-bumping event. So well done to the Neptune Nomads, clearly one of the strongest teams in Tour de Endurance. And despite the conditions, they did very well today. So did a fair few of these teams. But look at what could have been for Sweet and Sours there. Had that marble gone the other direction, Cookie there, had they gone to the right and avoided their teammate, it could have been a proper cracker of a finisher. But Neptune Nomads, Hellclowns, and a good recovery for the Condiment Kings. A shocking dead last in the first event. They're back to their feet now with Hellclowns and Neptune Nomads, the only 2 teams to beat them from run 1. Well done to those podium finishers.
So after the second event in the B-League, the Sweet and Sours hold the lead based on a tiebreaker ahead of the Neptune Nomads and the Talcons. Actually, Sweet and Sours and Nomads tied exactly, Quantum Tunnels in 4th place. After this, we go back to the A-League for the 5th event, the Hubelino Pursuit.